Our last inductee tonight has been one of the most prominent coaches over the last 30 years here in St. Louis, from AAA to Central States and everywhere in between. If you've been around, you know Lindsay Middlebrook. Born in a small town just north of Toronto, Middlebrook was raised in Collingwood, Ontario. Hockey would take him all over North America, including St. Louis, where he'd play 4 seasons for the St. Louis University Billikens. You can clap, go ahead. His game would eventually land him in the NHL, where he spent time with 5 different organizations, playing with the likes of Bobby Hull, Phil Esposito, Dino Ciccarelli, in addition to Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier, and Paul Coffey. Never heard of any of them. I don't know if you have or not, but Lindsay played with them during his time with the Edmonton Oilers. But his biggest impact came here in St. Louis as a coach, teaching the goaltending position, as well as impacting hundreds of youth hockey players and numerous assistant coaches along the way. It's my honor to introduce Mr. Lindsay Middlebrook.
Well, thank you, gang. I appreciate it. And I might have a hard time with this because I'm not used to being up this late. But before I get started, I'd like to recognize, first of all, my wife, Dottie, and my daughter, Ashley, her man, Arthur, and Ashley's Canadian twin cousin, Kate Middlebrook. Also here tonight are my wife's sisters and their husbands. We've been together for 47 years, and I want to thank you all for having my back. On just a quick personal note to my family who drove in from Toronto, Canada to be here tonight. You remember a few years ago when I was inducted into our hometown Hall of Fame, and the speech I gave you guys, and I had everybody in tears and sobbing and how great you guys were, and you're the reason we're there and all that. And then fast forward 5 or 6 more years and end up at St. Louis U in the Hall of Fame, and went on again about just how great you guys were and how you are the true Hall of Famers, not me, and all that crap. And well, I know you've been here a while tonight, but I want to let you know tonight's speech is got nothing to do with you guys. Okay? It's actually going to be just about me tonight. So now is the time. If you want to head out, I can meet you back at home in a couple hours. We can grab a pizza and play some cards. But there's a door over there, and now's the time to go. Okay? If you're here, be ready. Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank Scotty Rupp and the St. Louis Amateur Hockey Hall of Fame Committee. Lucky enough, thank you. Being very fortunate to have been in a couple of these before, this blows the other 2 away so bad, it's inconceivable. And I've talked to numerous guys tonight that are in different Hall of Fames and that, and to a T, this is by far the best production we've ever seen. We were here this morning around 11 o'clock setting up some stuff out there. Scott and his family, and he's got kids running around, he's got brothers and sisters and everything going, and they're all putting stuff up, they're getting ladders out and everything else. The effort the guy put in to make this event special for us, I can't thank him enough. To my fellow inductees, congratulations on your awards. I couldn't be happier to go into this group. As Andy said, hopefully one of the best groups to ever get into the hall here, okay? What an honor it is for me to top off a 60-year hockey career of being involved in the greatest game in the world, first as a player and then as a coach. The game of hockey has given me just about everything I have in life. My education, my wife Dottie, my amazing daughter Ashley, who I'm so proud of, and my two beautiful granddaughters that I love to death. Then on top of all this is a long list of friends that I've formed over the 60 years. Before I ride off into the sunset, I'd like to take this time to acknowledge some of those people. This wasn't supposed to be the emotional speech, That was the first two. This one wasn't, but anyway. A coach doesn't get to this point in a coaching career without the support of a lot of people from behind the scenes, many of whom will never be inducted into the Hall of Fame, but are certainly deserving of that award. Sorry. From my early days at AAA, when I was just trying to figure it out for myself, I'd like to recognize my co-coaches, Wayne Naum, Richie Siegel, Kevin Pallardy, Gordy Webb, and of course my tournament coach, my brother Kyle Middlebrook, who showed up at just about every tournament we ever entered and pumped up the players, convincing them that we could beat the Canadian teams if we just played disciplined hockey. But we all really know that the reason he was there was to run interference from the parents. So, to my team managers, Randy Kirkland, Kevin and Pat Pallardy, to Margot Gilvazon, Fairlyn Hale, and Jackie Billpush, thank you so much for all your time and efforts to make sure that the ship ran smoothly. Next up was my Chesterfield Central States years. I had the honor to coach with some of the best people I've ever known, from Bob Kearns to Justin Dye and Joe Cyril. To Doc Gornett, whose generosity towards me and all the players was over the top. He has done so much work behind the scenes for St. Louis youth hockey. Matt, I appreciate you being on the bench with me and winning a national championship together. I cherish that big time, so thank you. And the fact that you had two kids that helped us win, that certainly didn't hurt. I'm awful proud of my Chesterfield teams. To win 3 national championships in 5 years might be a record unmatched by any youth program in the country. I want everyone to know that this would not have happened if it weren't for my great friend and coach, Titus Dare. Titus was the ultimate co-coach. He bought into everything I was preaching. He believed in me and the way that I ran a program. I never had to worry that he might be telling the players something different than what I was teaching. So to all the coaches sitting here tonight, I highly recommend trying to find a coach similar to Titus. I wish you the best of luck, because I know it's going to be very hard to find a guy like Titus, because he really is one of a kind. To my CHA team managers, Mary Pat Corwin, Sandy Dye, Martha Williams, to Laura Clark and Elise Fernsler, to Rhonda Allen and Kim Chandler, thank you all so much for stepping up to make sure things ran smoothly, and most importantly, making sure the bus driver knew exactly where the Portillo's restaurants were in Chicago. During my high school coaching days, again, I had the honor of coaching some great people, from Mike Schenk at Parkway North to Brian McGlynn and Joe Naum at Vianney, and then with Kevin Downs at Fort Zumwalt West, and then again with Joe and Kevin at Lafayette. Thanks for being a great part of my journey. To my team managers, Mark Cyril, Laura Clark, and Suzette Circo, thank you for the endless hours of collecting payments, scheduling and organizing everything off ice that I could truly work on coaching on ice. I finished my coaching career over at Lindenwood Belleville University, where I again had tremendous support from the coaches. Gentlemen like Ben Kenyon, to Elliot Corwin, to Brett DeNapp, to Ron Hirsch, and especially my good friend Brendan Devers, a great young guy, up-and-coming coach that every organization in town should be trying to recruit. He is exactly what you're looking for in a young man, and I'm proud to be his friend. And also a special thanks to Craig Buntenbach, who was behind the scenes over at Lindenwood that made my life easier to recruit. For those that have never experienced the job of being a head coach, I can't express enough about how important it is to have a coaching staff that believes in you and the system that you're trying to teach. It is so great to have the confidence in your assistant coaches. They can send them down one end of the ice, and you don't have to worry about them doing some Russian drill that they've never heard of. You know, and I've had that happen. So, again, to those, very important. If I can impart one morsel of advice to every hockey parent here tonight, I ask that you keep this in mind about these unheralded Hall of Famers. They are overworked, underpaid people that do this out of the goodness of their hearts, and all they're looking for every once in a while is a simple thank you and appreciation for their efforts in trying to make sure that your son has a wonderful hockey experience. Finally, to my co-coaches, team managers, and all the parents that stepped up to make sure that things all ran smoothly, I would now like to accept this induction to the St. Louis Amateur Hockey Hall of Fame on their behalf. Thanks.